Meanwhile, got a
I just
handful
need
of cards. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she said, "Don't call back if you don't win." So, hey, had to
No
work on my
doghouse.
side.
No doghouse for camp tonight.
Yeah.
Let's be best friends.
Hello and welcome to Let's Be Best Friends, a podcast where I talk to people that I barely know and try and convince them to be my new best friends because in times like these, who needs enemies? Today on the show, we have the creator of the Black Wrestling Coalition, the creator of the South Congress podcast, and regular contributor to PW Torch, the only man to survive being Twitter's main character of the day, Cameron Hawkins, aka Seahawk.
Oh gosh, I did. I survived twice. It's crazy.
You did it, man. You are a fucking inspiration. I gotta say it.
Oh man. I mean, when you're not wrong, it's easy to tweet through it. Like I'm not gonna pay for other people's mistakes. I work too hard, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
You are the king of tweeting through it. The main one of the main things that kind of I think saw you blow up a little bit recently was getting canceled twice, and you are the king of literally just sitting there and just like, I'm not gonna stop. Most people would just like go into the dark night for a little bit and come back in
Yeah.
like a week. And you're like, nah, I'm just gonna roast kids on the TL until I feel better.
Yeah, people were like, man, you should just take a day off. I'm like, for what? Like, one, like this platform is super cool. It could be really fun, but it's also not real. Like, these people don't pay me. They don't feed me. I don't clothe them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's cool to be a part of the club, but it's like the worst thing that can happen. Like, if I said something really egregious and like, you send it to like my supervisor or something, like, look, Cameron said this and that. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, like that's different. But like, one, I work for a college. Like, you can kind of do what you want to do
Yeah.
as long as it's not detrimental to like the integrity of the school. So, you can joke around, you can have fun, but like, nah, man, Twitter is going to have, like you said, it's going to have a main character every day. The goal is not to be the main character. The best thing is you're rarely the main character for 2 days in a row. People who really care are still there for you. People who don't forget, or at least push you to the side for long enough. So
Right.
yeah.
What's it like? So, what's it like for you if you kind of have like you almost have like a Batman thing going on? You have like your normal kind of day to day thing, and then you have like this big Twitter following. You're doing wrestling trials at night, and then you're in college
Yeah.
the next day. What's that like for you?
Yeah, it's it can be a bit much sometimes because like and I've said this probably, like I'm a college advisor. So
Mhm.
I have like a caseload of like 500, 600 students who are
Jesus.
always asking me, I need help with classes, I need help with transferring, I need my major changes and
Yeah.
that. And then, when I'm like literally not doing that, I'm in front of thousands of people saying things. I think the thing that's easy about it though, even though it's gotten me in trouble once or twice, like my approach to talking to people and about things is typically the same
Mhm.
when I'm either on the Twitter machine on social media or when I'm talking to students. So it's yes, you're always the main character when you're in charge of kids, right? And
Yeah.
they're college kids. But
Yeah.
no, I don't feel like I have to switch up too much. Like that's still my personality. It's still kind of the way I talk. The
Mhm.
conversations and topics may change, but it's still me. Not too different.
Does it ever worry you that concept? Like, do you ever worry that a student's gonna come up to you and call you Seahawk?
So this is what I'm more worried about,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
It being a college, anybody can be any age. You
Right.
know what I mean? So like I went to I was at a bar like 2 months ago,
Mhm.
at brunch, go figure, right? And
The classic, the Seahawk brunch. Yeah.
yeah, and I meet this girl. We start talking about weight training,
Mhm.
and we exchange numbers. We talk on social media, this and that.
Mhm.
And then like last week, she was like, "Oh, you're my advisor," and I was like, "Oh,
And you were like, delete
oh,
number, block on Twitter.
yeah." And it was like, "Yeah, no, no, no. The nature of this relationship must change immediately." But that's the bigger thing. It's yeah, like locally, not too worried about it
Yeah.
because nobody in your city uses Twitter. I don't care what city you're from, right? They don't know you from that. It was more like when we go out of town, like when we were at Comic-Con,
Yeah,
and then we did like JCW and GCW.
right,
That was weird. People coming up to me knowing who I was. Like
right.
that was kind of the thing, but it's a different environment. So no, like between the hours of 8 and 5, you know me from work.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But again, it's not a danger, but an interesting thing working in a college is, they can be 18 to 80. So you
yeah.
never know who you're going to run into.
That's so funny. I love the idea that someone's like, "Hey, ooh, you're my college advisor."
Exactly.
So before we get too deep into it, I do want to touch on the Comic Con thing because that's something I'm really interested in talking to you about. But here on Let's Be Best Friends, if this is your first time watching at home or listening at home, of course, Cam, I know this is your first time being on the show. We like to make the conversation as cool, comfortable, and calm as possible, and I like to do that by doing some kind of activity with the guest. And this time, we went back and forth a little bit, and you made like kind of like a passing joke about an Uno deck, and I was like, actually, playing Uno, like playing cards, is one of the best ways to just like chill and talk.
Absolutely.
So I found this very cool, very chill way to play Uno online for free. And we're gonna play a little bit of Uno. Do you have like a long history of Uno?
Hell yeah. Um, I like, you come from a large black family and
Right,
cards are played all the time. Like I grew up in Southern Maryland and my mother's side, my father's side went to school together, like
right.
all growing up. So my father has 3 brothers and sisters, my mother has 10 brothers and sisters. And
Holy
so
shit.
yeah, and it was always, and my grandfather has a daughter from a marriage before he met my grandmother.
Right.
And so, that's like older family who has her whole own family, right?
Yeah. Jesus.
So no, we used to get together at my maternal grandparents' house, and
Mhm.
it was just, yeah, it's cards, it's horseshoes, it's dominoes, like just going every weekend with people cracking crabs on newspaper. Like that's just what the game was.
Oh,
So yes,
yeah.
a long history with cards.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm no good at like any real card game.
Mhm.
I'm like, I can play blackjack, I can play poker, but Uno's my shit
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. Uno
Yeah.
is the card game for people who don't give a shit about card games. Like Uno is that game no matter how old you are. I'm always down to bust out the Uno deck. We up here in Canada, we have this chain called Pizza Pizza. And for a while, they were offering like a free Uno deck if you
Mhm.
bought a pizza. And it was literally like the ittiest, bittiest deck. It was, I swear to God, like this big.
They give you like 13 cards.
Like it's a full deck, but it's so small. Like it's like width wise. I can't describe it. It's so goddamn small. And I
You
was
got
like,
one draw, two.
yeah. It was like, how how did anyone think that this made sense? I have a nuts turn here. I'm so sorry.
What the fuck?
I just had the fucking I just had a very good
Oh man, that's fucked up too. I gotta, man. Okay, all right. I
Okay.
see what the game is.
It's
No,
a
come on, keep going. What you're doing is you're hosting me to sleep. Is what you're doing. Oh man, good God, hammered over here.
I swear, it's if it helps, I got nothing now. I'm completely fucked until
Good, good. We finna run this shit. Let's go.
Ah, shit.
Yeah,
So you say you had like a really
man.
big family. Do you have like a lot of siblings or
So not really. I have so like while these families are big,
right?
I am the only child from my mother and father.
Oh, damn. Okay.
My brother, his birthday is actually tomorrow. Or is it the next day? I don't know. His birthday coming up. My brother will
Happy
be
birthday.
29.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he'll be 29. Now, my mother and my stepfather, I have my sister, and she's 2 months younger than my brother. So she'll be 29 in 2 months.
Okay.
And then I have 2 stepsisters as well. We don't really
Jesus.
count them. I mean, I guess now.
They're
But they
right.
each have like kids, but no, it's really just as far as growing up, as far as like relationships go, me,
Mhm.
my sister, and my brother are really close. Like I
Yeah.
stayed with my brother in DC when I was going to New York. So yeah.
Oh, nice. Are those close? I always thought DC was like I'm Canadian. I don't American geography is a mystery to me. I thought DC was on the west side.
So DC is like literally the mid-Atlantic, right? It's
Okay.
almost like right there in the middle.
Okay.
But New York is a 3.5 hour bus trip. So I was like,
Oh,
I
okay.
could stay in DC for free and see
Right.
my family, take the bus up to New York, take it back, and fly in and out of DC. So that's what I
Right.
ended up doing.
So you took the bus from DC to Comic-Con?
I took the bus. I mean, technically, I took the bus from DC to Comic Con. Yeah, and then when I did Comic Con that day, and then myself and people who were on the panel and different
Mhm.
creators, we all went to dinner, hanging out all night,
Mhm.
and then myself and Kanisha, who is a lovely Laveau on Twitter, fantastic jewelry creator.
Mhm.
We actually stayed with Faye Jackson for a couple of days.
Oh, okay.
Retired wrestler Faye Jackson. She's so sweet. So she lives in Jersey. So we stayed with her when we went to the GCW and JCW shows.
Mhm.
And then I went from Jersey back to New York, then took the bus back from New York to DC.
Damn. You seem like the busiest dude on the planet. Like, I don't know how you actually manage it.
Yeah. Am I busy? I'm fake busy, man. Like I the job takes up a lot of time,
Yeah,
but
for
it's
sure.
also like it's literally an 8 to 5,
Mhm.
right? And so my days are typically free, after that. I try to get a workout in after work.
Yeah.
And then like so this week, for example,
Yeah.
like talk about being busy, right? This
Yeah.
week I did Wade Keller's podcast on Monday.
Right.
On Tuesday, I think I streamed something on Tuesday. Yesterday, I did. A matter of fact, I did Wade Keller's show, and I did my man True God show because he's doing some podcasts leading up to a couple of albums he's dropping.
Nice. Cool. Shout out.
On Tuesday night, I don't know. I think I was on stream. Somebody can tell me if I was or I wasn't. Last night, myself and I don't know. I don't even know what to call them, man. You call them like the Super Six. It's myself, J Rose, Alexis Littlefoot, Suge Dunkerton, who says that the Jericho Cruise is still not taking off, by the way. Um, and Kanisha, we're all in a group chat doing the Black Wrestling Draws thing.
Oh,
And
cool.
so, yeah, we streamed Black Girl Magic last night with the blessing of IWTV. They let me stream that. That was really
Mhm.
fun. Normally on Wednesday nights is when Travis and I do Pro Wrestling Torch East Coast cast.
Mhm.
He actually got a real job now. And so we have to like reconfigure when we're going to do the show because he was like, oh, I just need Wednesdays off. They're like, we don't do that. You don't
Yeah.
just get
You can't just take a
Wednesdays.
full day off in the middle of the week.
Exactly. So he's sorting that out. And typically on Thursday or Friday night is when I'll do my stream. So, busy is relative. Like I like the stuff that I do. Like,
Yeah.
this is fun. You're just talking to people and you're kicking it back and forth. Like this is great. I love doing this. So, one thing I did have to do though,
Mhm.
in order to make this happen, I had to cut back on the writing.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, South Congress originally started as a what color is it? Is it blue?
Blue. Yeah.
Okay.
I need to get. I
Yeah,
need to get. I need to get some cards off my hand, man.
There we go. Yeah, originally started as like just a blog where we were writing.
Right.
And basically the Mike Brown murder happened. And I
Okay.
just kind of lost the passion for writing. That's why we
Mhm.
started the podcast. Because I was like, I still want to talk about stuff. Guess what? Uno, baby.
Ah,
I
Jesus.
still want to talk about stuff, but god damn it. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Okay. So now I gotta.
Thank
Oh,
God.
got him.
Yo, what the
Got
fuck?
him.
Ah,
Got him.
but Cam didn't call Uno.
Oh, I didn't hit the. Damn, I didn't hit the button. Oh well. Let me get these 4 cards. Ain't that about a bitch? Okay. No. So we were we switched over to the podcast.
Right.
And it was going great. And then my man Peanut, God rest his soul, jumped on there with me, and it was going great. And what happened was I think I had written a piece for the Torch
Mhm.
about it was when Kofi Kingston was about to win the title.
Right. Okay.
And I basically like wrote a thing about how Vince has always kind of looked for this great black athlete.
Mhm.
like all-American black athlete. Like you look at what he did with The Rock, you look at what he tried to do with Ahmed Johnson,
Mhm.
look what he did with Mark Henry, the attempt with Shelton Benjamin. And I think he really like has that, and he has it with Big E, he
Mhm.
has it with Bianca Belair at this point. But that's
Mhm.
something he was always kind of shooting for. And so my thing was, appreciating Kofi as being like a regular guy. Now Kofi is hyper athletic, but he
Right.
doesn't have the background of I played football at X college and was an All American, and here I am to save the day. He was different, and it was just
Yeah.
about acknowledging that black wrestlers like black people are not a monolith. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? We live and breathe and exist. Got him. In the real world, we can all be different. We can all rock with each other. So when that happened, I think it kind of got eyes on my writing, and people were like, you need to write more, you need to write more. So I started writing for Fansite at DDT.
Okay. Yeah.
And I did a piece on the NWA and Jim Cornette. And it was really about how like they shouldn't have fired Jim Cornette. Like, who you hired, it's your job to produce him the right way.
Wow. Okay.
Um,
That's a big take because I this is about the commentary thing that happened, right? That was a
exactly,
while ago.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That's an
Mhm.
interesting take.
Yeah, and it's just like, he's people love him for who he is, but
Mhm.
everybody has to be reeled in and reined in at some point. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like there's just things that don't fly anymore. And on a pre-tape show, it's up to you to have the right people in the room who can look at it and
I
say, "No, we gotta
forgot.
fix this."
I forgot it was
You know what I'm saying?
pre-taped. What a fucking event, man. If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, you can easily Google it. You can literally Google like probably Jim Cornette
Yeah,
like
and really
commentary or something
simply,
like
it was Trevor Murdoch, and I forget who he was in a match with, but he said something along the lines of somebody's going after him like a bucket of chicken in Africa. Like if he was on a motorcycle with a bucket of chicken in Africa. And
Oh
it's like, dude,
god.
yeah, it's like you gotta
Jesus
understand
Christ.
like the world a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
Um and so yeah, so I wrote that, and then I had another thing I did with them that I think did well. But what
Mhm.
happened was that's where the time comes in, man. Like writing a piece. I can do it every couple of months,
Yeah.
but the way Fanside is set up, and God bless them, like I'm still under the umbrella, like there's nothing against them, but
Mhm.
they work on kind of a volume scale.
Yeah.
And there's like they do, your top 10 lists and should this wrestler do this match, and here's how I felt about this, and that's all great.
Mhm.
That's never what I signed up for. Like it
Yeah.
was for me to do. I got this idea that I need to get out. So let me workshop it for a few weeks
Mhm.
and write it and tweak it and tweak it and tweak it and tweak it and go from there.
Yeah.
And again, that's not really what they do. And it was like, well, I can't work at the clip that they want
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
still put out what I think is good. So it's been, a year plus since I did anything for them. And they are good to where I can always just jump back in. That's never a problem.
Mhm.
But yeah, they're cool. But like I wanted to write for PWI. I wanted to do an end of the year thing for PWI
Okay.
the end of last year, and it was just the deadline was too close. And Kevin was really cool. You know, he came to me in the summer. He's like, "Yo, Cam, you still trying to do something?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, here are a couple of topics," and he was like, "I want you to see if you can reach out to Alley Cat
Okay.
about her changing her persona over to Alley Catch. Like that would be like a cool thing to write about."
Mhm.
And he was like, this is not intended to be a flex, but things exist to be what they are.
Yeah.
He was like, uh, yo, if you want me to, I can reach out to her from the official PWI account. I was like, nah, baby, you good. I
Yeah,
can take
don't
care
worry.
of it
I got that
myself.
one.
Yeah. And the thing was, I was already good with Faye Jackson. You
Okay.
know,
So you had that connection there then.
yeah,
Mhm.
we had
Mhm.
already been talking, and I think it was. I don't think me and Faye had hung out yet because she actually came down to Austin. And we did brunch, and it was really fun.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was like, "Yo, can you holler at Alley Cat for me?"
Mhm.
And I may have already been friends with another person she knows, and it was like, yeah, I was like, she knew who I was. We got to talking. We both went to University of Texas, and
Nice. That's an
knew the
easy
same
connection.
people, and so yeah, so it made it
Yeah.
work. And so we did an interview, and I took a couple of days to sit down and write. And so, yeah, writing is the thing that has to get sacrificed when we do like all this audio and video.
Yeah.
It's still fun, but that's the part that gets kind of pushed to the side.
Yeah. Well, because writing is such a it's one of those things that like this, when we're just talking and chilling like this, like you said, this is easy. Like we're literally sitting here playing Uno and like talking to microphones, right? But writing, like I feel like there's almost like there's almost like this concept that writing is like a higher form of media, right? Like writing is such an old thing, and everyone thinks that they know how to write, and everyone knows how to read to some extent. So it's like everyone will read this and they will either try and pick it apart, or they will, like, you know, if you've got too many spelling errors, people just aren't going to read it. So you got to sit there and like edit it over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's and especially when we're talking about writing about wrestling. Like,
Yeah.
Here's the thing about writing about wrestling.
Wrestling fans fucking suck.
Yes, yes they do. Yes they do, because they're not. A lot of people are looking to be famous. A lot of people not only looking to be famous, they're looking to be friends with the wrestlers. They're looking for approval from the wrestlers, right? And so anything you say that seems to be against a wrestler or just simply not in favor of them, it ends up, or anybody in the business, it ends up getting picked apart to where you don't know what you're talking about. You're nobody. How dare you? Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's tough because, you know, we have a what is it called? What's the work group chat called?
Like Slack?
Slack.
Yeah.
We have Slack. And I don't think I'm shocking anybody by saying this, but most of your wrestling sites, most of them, even if the people who own them are not, most of the writers are going to lean pretty far left. It's just the way it is, right? And so, like, we'll get in there and start talking about situations that happen, and a lot of it is similar thinking. And we encourage each other, like, yeah, write that. That's going to be dope. Like, like this needs to be said. And then you put it out there, and the guy who voted on the other side, he reads it and then is talking to you crazy. You know what I mean? Like, so it's a lot of that. And like anything else, but writing more specifically, you put so much into it. That when somebody who can't write talks about your writing, you get so upset.
Like, it's a very personal
thing. You can't even do this. Like, it's like working at a college. One thing you find out is people can get all A's in high school. When you ask them to write an essay, they're in the headlights, man. Like, they really are in the headlights. And reading comprehension, like, is not the easiest thing. Like, when they start seeing words they don't know put into you know, paragraphs they're not familiar with, like it's a lot. It's absolutely a lot. It's rewarding like nothing else, because you get to say, like, again, I've done podcasts for 10 years, give or take, because I've done stuff with because the Torch East Coast cast, I started listening to that in 2009. I think I became a part of it like 11 or 12, right?
Wow.
So I've been doing like a weekly show every week for almost 10 years.
You're tenured, man. You get the wrestling fan severance package with this all done.
Yeah, seriously, man. It's been a long time. So, you know, you do gosh, I lost my train of thought. Been doing that part for 10. Oh, this is what I wanted to say. Doing that for 10 years. My mother doesn't care that I'm on a radio show, like an internet radio show. She could give one fuck about that. She does not care. Wait, can I say fuck on here? That's okay?
Absolutely. You can cuss as much as you want, brother.
She don't care about that. Like, the thing with her was, like, you know, it's how old are you?
How old am I? 25.
Yes, 25. Okay. So I'm 35, right? So here's the thing. I bought cassette tapes. I bought VHSs, right? But I also watched those things go away.
Right.
That's the thing. Like, I, you know, went from that to CDs to DVDs to Blu-ray. Like I to digital. Like, I've been there for that whole stretch. And, you know, getting like older and going to school like during those times. So I'm so familiar with it. Like, but my mom, like, she's not going to a website to listen to a radio show.
No,
like, for anybody.
No fucking, no shot. Right? No, absolutely not.
Yeah. So I've been doing this for years, and she was like, it's cool that you do that stuff, like that's
Yeah.
great. But when the Comic-Con thing happened, she saw it on an official website for
Hmm.
this big thing where all these celebrities are going to be at. And then she calls me and she's like, Cameron, do you know that everybody you're on the panel with are either current wrestlers or former wrestlers or working wrestling? I'm like, yes, mother, these are my peers and
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Mom, I've been
Those are
doing this
my
for 10
yeah,
years.
but now it's real to her. So this is what happened.
Yeah.
So when I did the was it your turn or mine?
Oh, I think it's
I
your
think
turn.
it's mine. Oh, let me draw a damn card. But oh, got your ass. But no, so that was cool to her. And then when we did the PWI, they give you two of them for free. I said send them both to my mother's house.
Nice. That's a
Like,
nice
and so
move.
now, like, she always has that thing where she can say, okay, here's proof that Cameron's actually doing something. Like, she has something she can put like on a wall. She has something she can put in a safe. Like,
Yeah,
it's great.
yeah. What
And I
was
do remember Laserdisc, by the way. Somebody in the chat, my man Chris, asked me about Laserdisc. I remember them big some bitches.
Did you ever actually use them? Because like I'm a younger, but I was around for like my parents were like tape collectors and like I have a VHS collection literally like right over here.
Mhm.
Laser discs, I always thought were kind of a rich man's game. Did you have like the laser disc setup and the player and all that?
Absolutely not. I did
Yeah.
not have a Laserdisc, but what I did have was uh, went to a magnet school. And so they got the laser disc. And so we were watching Mad Nature videos on the laser disc. Yeah.
That's so okay. Was it good at all? Because the only laser disc I've ever seen, I was at a flea market a couple years ago, and they had a laser disc of I think it was Terminator 2, and it was
Okay.
this fucking. I mean, it's huge. It's a disaster. It's like a medium pizza sized disc that
Mhm.
contains a movie. Was it
Yeah, no, I
good at
mean,
all?
but that's the thing. It was the best technology at the time.
Hmm. Yeah.
So good or bad, it was, it's what was working the best. But I also like, you know what microfiche is?
No.
Okay. So until probably until college, man. I love school. Like, school was great. Because school is the thing where you could show up,
Mhm.
you learn stuff, you could almost talk as much as you want as long as you made good grades.
Mhm.
You could play sports and you could hang out with girls. Like, school was great. So when I was like young,
Yeah.
when we used to do projects, we'd go to the library and use microfiche. So basically what that is imagine, like, the phone's probably too big. Imagine something quarter of the size of the phone, right?
Okay. Jesus. Okay.
You put it under a microscope and it is full on newspaper articles that you read through the lenses.
It's
I
like
thought it was the coolest shit.
It's like what are those? Like a ViewMaster, but for adults.
Essentially, yeah, that's exactly what it was like. I had a ViewMaster with Mad Sesame Street on it. It was
Oh, me
great.
too. I had the Disney. I think it was Lion King. It was Lion King or Tarzan. I had one of those.
Yeah, no, that was great, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and microfiche. I used to be in the library for hours, man, reading these articles about your World War IIs and your industrial revolutions and all that, man. It was a great time for sure.
So what's it like for you then? Because like it must be weird because you've seen all these different medias kind of come and go, and now
Mhm.
you're working with students to where like even in high school now every kid's got an iPad and they can just
Mhm.
like do whatever the fuck they want. Like even I remember having to get books to read to cite for essays. Like
Mhm.
so what's it like for you like helping these kids and then being like I don't fucking go to a
Well,
library like
here's the issue,
mm,
right? So college students
mhm.
do not use computers unless you force them to.
Really?
Okay, so I'll spend basically half my day with my specific caseload of 500-600 students, right?
Sure.
The other half of the day, I'm on our advising helpline.
Okay.
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 And so, just for example, a student will call, hey, I need to drop my English Comp 2 class
Mhm.
I need to pick up a history class, and I also want to plan my schedule for the next semester.
Hmm.
You say, okay,
Right.
are you in front of a computer currently? And they say, no, but I have my phone.
Okay.
But the
Okay.
problem is the technology advanced too far to
Yeah.
where, and that it's such a headache because like even though phones can do just about everything, most
Hmm.
college systems are built for computers,
Yeah. They're not built for mobile. They didn't
specifically,
use
yeah,
Squarespace.
and they're specifically built for Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
And most people, even if most people have iPhones. Well,
Right.
I don't even know if most people have iPhones. Most people I deal with have iPhones, and
Yeah.
most people who have iPhones do not have Chrome because they
Right.
don't have a use for it,
Yeah.
right?
They just have
And so
Safari
it's
or whatever.
just and like they do the Puff Daddy thing with the guy when he was on that show where Puff Daddy kind of stares and the guy kind of stares.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, get your ass to a computer. Like, come
Yeah.
on, like make this easy on everybody. But no, like being, 35 ain't young, but it's also like I've had to grow with the technology.
Hmm.
Most of the kids, it's not too much of an adjustment. It's teaching them the systems. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, and once they have the system down, it's not too bad.
Hmm.
Older students, however, I'm 50 and I don't really use computers. Well, how are you going to go to school?
Yeah.
But I do get in trouble for that every now and again. But yeah.
So okay, so I want to touch. I want to touch briefly. Where does wrestling kind of fit in for you? So you say you loved school. You love learning,
Mhm.
being in that environment, whatever. Was wrestling like an always thing for you? Did you catch the bug young? Because you're 35. You've seen a lot of probably the big
Yeah,
moments in wrestling.
for sure. Yeah, about Saturday nights, 6:05 on the Superstation. Um,
My man's got
my
time and
dad was a
date.
wrestling fan.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad was a wrestling fan, so we used to watch it. And what was cool, my mother, who is retired military now,
Okay.
when my parents divorced and before she got remarried,
Hmm.
she's like, I got a son, I need a bit more money. So she used to work at the Capitol Center, which is where the Bullets played. And
Okay.
so every once in a while, I go with her and like go see wrestling for free.
That's
Like
sick.
I saw Hogan and Flair in a cage at a house show when I was like 4. You know what I mean? Like
What
so
the fuck?
yeah, I've always been like a fan. And then,
Yeah.
when we got to Wyoming, that's right during the Monday Night Wars.
Okay.
So because I was we left when I was 11 and I turned 11 in late 96. So like that first 6 months or so,
Hmm.
like really the Monday Night Wars going, like every Monday night. I'm right there in front of the old TV. We had a TV with wood paneling.
Yeah, you had the
Like
old tube with the
it
with
was
the
that time.
dial.
So it didn't have the dials on it. It was weird. It was like old but new. Like I didn't have to use a wrench or anything.
Okay,
But
okay.
yeah, that was the OG, man. I'm
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
game room every Monday night flipping channels. Like it was a great time. And so I was always kind of watching wrestling. Like when I got to high school, like they knew how big of a fan I was. Like I
Hmm.
would be there like some days in our advisory period, like popping in VHSs of wrestling and just sitting there watching them with everybody, right?
Y'all ever see
Um,
SummerSlam '94? Click.
exactly. Or like if my mom wouldn't buy the pay-per-view,
Hmm.
like somebody would tape it and then we watch it the next day. Because
That's
that's
sick.
before like everybody's watching it's before everybody's watching or reading for spoilers or anything like that. Like this is 0102.
Yeah.
So there aren't a million sites you can go to. Like CBS ain't covering no damn wrestling,
Yeah,
right?
the internet's like a
So
baby thing at this point.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, so we pop them in and watch them. And then like in college, I still watched because you live in a big dorm. Like
Hmm.
I lived in Jester West. Jester West, I think Jester combined is the biggest dorm in America. And
Jesus. Okay.
so let me see. I want to get a number real quick. Jester dorm population.
And this is in Texas, right?
Yeah, it's University of Texas.
Everything's bigger
And
in Texas.
so
Yeah.
2,100 students.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And
That's
so
that's bigger than some towns. Like
yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, 2,100 students. And then the thing was like, it's not just like the 2,100 students are in
Mhm.
Jester. It being the biggest dorm, there are classes in there are restaurants in there. All your friends are coming to kick it there because that's where the girls are. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Yeah.
Jester was always packed. But what happened was if there was a show that everybody was watching,
Mhm.
everybody's got their doors open, right? So like you got to remember, I'm in college at the height of Chappelle's show. And
Right.
so everybody's
Right.
doors cracked open. Everybody's got Comedy Central on.
Yeah.
Like it's just going crazy. I mean,
It's
and
like
to a
OG
smaller
Twitter.
extent, exactly, exactly. For a smaller extent, it was like that with wrestling. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Okay.
So yeah, so you got a bunch of guys, you get together in like in the study area or like the TV area, and everybody
Mhm.
being there watching. So it always kind of stuck. What happened was when I graduated school in '09, like all of a sudden, like my buddies either graduated like a semester or two before me and they took off,
Mhm.
or they graduated with me and they went back to wherever they lived, or they went to where their job was. And
Mhm.
I ended up starting to work right here in Austin.
Mhm.
I had just broken up with the girl I was seeing, like everything had really like slowed down. And so I
Yeah.
was like, man, I need something to do. And so I started reading the torch.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then got hooked up with Trav and Dre. And that's how, you know, from there it became, oh, I guess I work in media now. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, yeah. It just all kind of happened organically like that.
Yeah. Was that ever like a goal for like, so did you go to school like for writing or anything, or was it like a
So
hobby?
was it like I started off as an RTF major
Okay.
and my grades were dog shit my first two semesters. So I could get in the
C's get
program.
degrees, baby.
But
Let's go.
yeah, so I ended up switching over to English, but I still worked on Texas Student Television.
Okay.
Like I worked on a show then, and then yeah, I was like, I still want to do this.
Mhm.
And I had, you know, I had been writing. So I ended up linking up with a guy who like actually has his own TV show now to do the Texas Student Television stuff.
Nice.
And so yeah, it was like I have this background. And then even before I got to college, we called it externships because you couldn't do internships prior to having a diploma, but it was the same thing, right?
Really?
Did an internship with Chuck Mickatinick from Maximum Sports. I
Shout
remember
outs,
that. He was
baby.
like our local Fox affiliate. So yeah, and
Oh
I put
no.
together, yeah, it was a little Fox, local Fox, not
Okay.
big Fox, local Fox.
I
And so
only
I
know
ended
Big Fox, so your Fox, and I'm
yeah, I
like,
got you. No, yeah, local Fox, different. I ended up putting together my first radio show, like
nice.
all by myself from watching his stuff. And so yeah, it was always like something I was interested in.
Mhm.
And then you know, the writing came from the English background. I could always do that.
Right.
The on-camera stuff, again, I did a little bit of that in school, but it was just something that we had to pick up. I was like, this is the natural progression of things, doing on-camera work. So I just bought a camera, started putting stuff at different angles. I put a camera here, I put a camera there.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just started to figure out how to do it. And then like now, you know, we do the Twitch thing. And I always say we because even though like this is kind of a one-man act now, I
Mhm.
always like think about like me and Peter what we would be doing. And then I got people who do help out like
Right.
behind the scenes and then like people I collaborate with. But yeah, it just this was like the natural progression with all of it. It was just like, hey, this is something you know a little bit about, put that
Mhm.
little bit to use. Yeah.
It's cool that you kind of saw the writing on the wall, because I feel like a lot of people, especially people who have been in like traditional media for a really long time, like, and still people are kind of like objective to the idea of like, written articles is dying, man. Like it just is.
Mhm.
There's nothing you can do about it. Zoomers don't give a shit about reading, man. If you can take like, a 600 word story and you can stand in front of a camera and you can say it in a way that's entertaining or interesting, then like boom, doesn't matter what your degree is, right?
Mhm.
So it's cool that you kind of saw the writing on the wall and you were like, okay, like we got to figure this out. Like if this is
Yeah.
something we want to do, then we got to just figure it out, man.
And even with the East Coast cast, and
Mhm.
I love Travis to death. And Travis, if you're listening, we've had this conversation in private, so we can have it in public. Um, I was like, look, dude, like we aren't doing the platform being on this website. We cannot grow like this,
Right.
right? Like we went from gosh, what was it? We were talking to like I don't know what the numbers. It was like 5,000 people were like listening to these shows, right?
Yeah.
But it was on a website that didn't have any type of outside foothold. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah. It's
you
very
know,
insular.
for sure. Like,
Mhm.
we was getting money, but it was like this amount can't grow.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, there's nothing that can happen here because nobody wants to use this platform specifically. So, what I did was I said, all right, Trav, of course, this is under the Torch umbrella.
Mhm.
We still want this time slot. We're still going to use this website. But what we need to do is we need to put this on Twitch too to go at the same time as the show,
Right.
you know, because that's going to be like, that's new technology. Like
Yeah.
we need to be recording this and putting this on more than just your Apple Musics. Like this needs to be everywhere. Like
Mhm.
it was, yeah, adjusting to the times, adjusting to the technology is always something that like I've encouraged. And so, and again, it's not like butting heads, but you know, you can be set in your ways and not necessarily see the value in everything like this. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, kind of stepped out and was like, when the technology's new, we got to touch the technology, regardless of what we're talking about, regardless of what we're doing. And it's helped. I think it's definitely grown our audience. It's grown like our foothold, as it were, as far as like the wrestling media stuff goes. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's you know, it's like you say, it's just getting more eyes like on the product, right? Like, why wouldn't you? Especially with COVID, all the numbers for Twitch and YouTube are skyrocketing, right? So
Mhm.
it just makes sense. Speaking of times changing and stuff, talk to me. I want to talk to you about this Comic-Con panel because it
Yeah.
kind of came out of like, at least from the surface level, from just seeing it on Twitter or whatever, it kind of came out of nowhere. And
Yeah.
then, it's so cool to see because there's been this big movement for the Black wrestling community specifically. And, there's been this big movement with a lot more content creators kind of getting behind it. So talk to how did you get involved in that?
Um, I think that like number one, like tribalism is a real thing. And it's not
Okay.
like tribalism isn't always like a negative thing to talk about, right?
Mhm.
I think that like so this is always the best way to explain it. Uh when I was at UT was 1% black.
Wow.
1%. Like the entire, and that's including athletes,
Holy shit.
right? So I was out with some friends like maybe 2 months ago,
Mhm.
and we're at the bar, and Vince Young is there,
Okay.
and he like gives me the head nod,
Mhm.
and I give him the head nod back. We go talk for a minute and we say what's up. And whoever I was with, they were like, "You know Vince Young?" I'm like, "No, yeah," like because we had to know each other.
Okay.
Like the first time we met was at a probate, or it was a sorority was hosting a date auction. And it's funny, a friend of mine who I was actually with WrestleMania weekend in New Orleans, she just recently got married and they're about to have a kid. Shout out to Carmen.
Congrats.
She was on stage getting auctioned off, and
What
him
a
and I,
story.
yeah, him and I had never met before. But
Yeah.
he's standing next to me. He's like, "Yo, how much did she go for?" Like as he walks in, I start talking to him, and like it was never weird because you got a bunch of people, especially the athletes,
Mhm.
who have only like they come from these really small towns, or they come from these large metropolitan areas where they typically were only around black people. And so
Okay.
black people gravitate toward each other.
Mhm.
So I think when the Twitter follows start going up and you're joking around with this person, I
Mhm.
think, I was just one of those people who kind of got latched onto as, okay, clearly he's cool. He, has these, he has articles, he has a show, he knows what he's doing.
Mhm.
And so, people started talking, people started networking. It was just like real natural. It was like,
Yeah.
we're, even if we're not at the same job, we have the same job title. I don't mean writing, I mean being black in this space.
Right. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, the conversations start to happen. Trying to think of what like kind of the first thing was. I think with Tiger Driver, I think I actually reached out first as far as content goes.
Okay.
When COVID shut down, um, when COVID shut down, I kind of switched around what I wanted to do with the podcast.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I want to talk to different people from different places in the country about how COVID's affecting them, their brand.
Okay.
Right. So I hit Chris from Tiger Driver. We had a fantastic conversation. And this is the
Mhm.
first time we had talked like out loud, but it was a great combo.
Mhm.
Um, I think that the podcast we were doing, uh, and I don't even know if it was the one with him. I think the stuff we were doing before, but people started reaching out. They were like, "Hey, we want you to do audio on the project that we're doing." I was like, "Of course." So
Yeah.
Jay Rose, who is basically a mastermind behind Paradigm Pro Wrestling,
Mhm.
he's talking to me. So I was on IWTV's Best of the Year show the end of last year. I was like, "What? I'm on what? Like, this is so cool! Like I'm announcing stuff on here."
Yeah.
And then I did two spots on the 2 seasons of Paradigm Pro Wrestling. Like I'm the voice of the intro of the show. Like it's the craziest shit.
Sick.
So and then I think it was after that that like I started talking to the wrestlers. Like people would like, okay. So I certainly won't say his name because it's like, whatever. But somebody in ROH was like, hey, just so you know, the things that you tweet out are the things that a lot of us talk about and want to say. And we appreciate you saying them.
Wow.
I was like, oh, shit.
That's crazy.
So I think that is a real big thing too. Like not just the media, but I'm not afraid to speak my mind on Twitter, especially about things that would concern people like me directly. And so that was the coolest thing to me. And so I think, wrestlers, when wrestlers say they don't read Twitter, they're lying. They read
everyone
everything.
Reads fucking
Twitter,
they
look at just like everybody else, they look at everything. And so, you say decent stuff about people like that, but also when you're not afraid to talk about issues they might think exist. Like that's really where the networking started. So what happened was, 5 or 6 of us are together. And this is, again, we're already talking about all this positive black shit, but there was the match with Big Swole and Diamante. They were going to have that 2 out of 3 falls match. 1 pin, 1 submission, 1 knockout.
Right. Fucking wicked match.
And we were like, damn, like for it to be like this big of a gimmick match, why is this on YouTube? Right. And there's a criticism of AEW. That's not just a criticism of AEW. I mean, WWE suffers from it too. They've just been around longer.
Yeah.
But
and they've been doing it longer. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, put black people on TV, put black people in the main event. Like we want to see these things. And so after like all that discussion, it became the Black Wrestling Draws. Hold on 1 second. Hey, baby. What are you doing? You busy? You outside kicking it? Yeah. Okay. I am getting smoked in Uno and doing this podcast right now and streaming. So I'm gonna have to call you back, okay?
Oh, you're playing Uno and
we're playing Uno via the internet, and he's smoking me.
You better step it up or don't call me.
Hey, rules is rules. I'll talk to you later, sweetheart. Bye. Okay. All right.
Fucking sweet. I'm leaving that in.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I'm about to say my man Pacino said, don't cut that out.
I'm not cutting that out. No shot. That's so fucking funny.
Yeah. But no, so yeah, and it was like, okay, what are we gonna do? And that's when Kanisha came up with Black Wrestling Draws. And we were trying to figure out the thing to say. And then J Rose created a graphic, and he was like, my man texted me, what horchata you got on the phone on Twitch, my boy? Oh, life is hard. Life is hard. Okay, so and so they were like, well, Cam, one, you're in this group and you're not a wrestler, and so you're not going to burn any bridges. And you have, out of us non-wrestlers, you have the biggest following. Like, fuck it, let's put it out there. I want to do this. And so, yeah, man, it just took off. Like people really latched onto it because it wasn't like it wasn't like we were saying less white people.
Right.
We were saying more black people, right? Like we want to watch this. We'll tune in to watch it. You guys have the talent, so let's rock. And we did it with AEW, we did it with WWE, and it wasn't even like a negative thing all the time. It was like, yo, there's a match with black wrestlers. People may not know about it. Let's hype it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that simple.
Well, and especially J-Rose too. Like you see him on Twitter all the time being like, yo, like this promotion in like, where somewhere in the States will be like, this promotion just had a great match, like 2 black wrestlers, yada yada. Like, and as both like ignorant whitey and a Canadian, like I don't get to see all these kinds of things, right?
Sure.
So it's cool to see this space growing, like especially in COVID when there was like the big boom with the LGBT wrestling community, and now with the black community as well. Like, what's it been like for you to kind of see this grow up? Because I imagine the professional wrestling space is not always the kindest to not white people.
Yeah. I mean, there's absolutely pushback.
Yeah.
The biggest thing, oh, wait a minute. Wait a fucking minute.
No. Fuck.
Woo, got that ass.
Damn it.
Got that ass. I had 2 skips, and they were like, he can't go. He got to skip. Let that motherfucker down, boy.
Longest fucking game of Uno.
Yeah. Oh, and for sure, I want to say this really quick too.
Yeah.
Because Pacino shouted it out. One thing that I really appreciated about it was because we definitely have queer people in the space, right?
Yeah, of
and
course.
So it wasn't even a question if they would be included in this. Because, like, you try to do some positive black shit in 1992, and people want to tell you why you can't have gay people included. You know what I mean? So I do love that was, definitely a big part of what we were doing. Like, shout out to Nyla Rose. I don't want to run down the list here, but that's who jumps off my head pretty quickly. We're like, no, of course, when we do Black Wrestling Draws, we're going to talk about her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was always good. But okay, this is what it's like. You are 25, so you're right there in the age range of J. Rose and Chris, right?
Yeah.
So I am blessed to have a career. I am blessed to have. Oh, for sure, shout out to Sonny Kiss. He's gonna start naming names.
Now you're gonna get canceled. You didn't name the entire Black queer community.
My own viewers, right? But no, so blessed to have a college degree, blessed to have a career. And so my thing was like, if wrestling goes away from me tomorrow, I'll be sad, but I'll be fine. Like the bills are still getting paid, right?
Yeah.
But here's what I appreciate. So like we were at Comic-Con and J. Rose kind of pulls me to the side and he's like, yo, Cam, like, I just want you to know, like, I appreciate, everything you've done. And, I know I can be, have to be doing a million things at once. You're always patient with me and you never ask for anything, even when I try to give you stuff. Cause like, they operate on a budget where, J. Rose is like, yo, this is what I got in the budget. I'm like, dog, keep that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. So I like being like the wrestling uncle. I really do. Because these kids, like between J. Rose, between Chris, like Chris is 22. Like
he's so young.
Yeah, selling thousands of dollars of merch a month, right? Like J. Rose is already like running the creative side of a promotion, working on his own promotion. Like these kids are gonna be millionaires, man.
Yeah.
Like all they gotta do is keep doing what they're doing. I just like that I can help. I like that I can be like an older, mature voice that may get different eyes and ears that they might see. I like that I can calm them down when they're stressed. And they do it for me too. Like I'm certainly not like, the conscience of the group, but like, I get to create. Like I never got into writing or podcasting for money. I got into it because I had messages I wanted to get out. I had thoughts I wanted to get out. And I wanted to create a conversation. Like, even with Twitter, people say like, you're tweeting this for attention. I'm like, no, this is me. Like, I say wild shit sometimes to try to start a conversation.
Yeah.
Or just because like I'm in the mood to say something funny. Like,
you could just be bored. Like you just want to get something going,
There's an unfair, and like I'm not playing victim, but there's an unfair thing that happens when you hit a certain amount of followers. Where people just assume that everything you do is for show. And I'm like, you tweet the same things I do. It's just less people see them. So it's interpreted different.
Yeah.
Like somebody tweeted, like I tweeted basically like, I don't watch Crown Jewel because I feel that the people who host Crown Jewel are the same people who finance 9/11. Right. And like, if you're smart, it's true. Like, and even if it's not true, it's the most likely conclusion that all our information shows us, right?
Yeah, that's a big take to drop on the TL. I saw that. That was crazy.
They tried to flame me. They tried to get me out of here. Like, as if I was saying that the people of Saudi Arabia, the people with their infinite financial funds and access to, technology and information and flight patterns and all that the people of the country are the ones who are responsible. It's like, no, you don't actually think that's what I think.
Yeah.
You just see somebody getting a lot of attention, so you want to jump on it.
Yeah, you're just trying to kind of get a slice of the pie sort of thing.
Some guy with 200 followers tweeted the same thing today, and it got like 10 times the amount of likes that it got quote tweets. And I was just like, you
You got
accept that it
cooked.
comes with the territory, but it's like, okay, like I see what this is. So,
Yeah.
so again, that's why I can't be canceled. That specifically is why I can't be canceled, because I'm not the idiot. And
Right.
even when I'm being the idiot, sometimes my idiocy is my faith in people.
Yeah.
Like it's, so.
Well, and you kind of like to put it in like the bluntest terms possible. You almost have like the infrastructure to be an idiot, right? Because like you have
For
enough
real.
Twitter clout where you can
Yeah.
do like, I mean, it's been shown you can get yourself into situations and you can tweet your way through it. You can get your way out of it just by being like, listen, like you guys know I'm not actually a fuckhead. I'm not actually a weirdo. Like,
Yeah.
I've been here long enough. I've got enough followers. I've got enough friends in the space. Which
The
helps
craziest
obviously.
thing, this one guy was like, he called me. He was like, "You're a dumb motherfucker," right? And
Damn.
then like I look at his page,
Mhm.
and I'm like, "Oh, you right. Oh, we got a bunch of the same followers. Oh, you have 4 times less followers than me.
Ooh.
Oh." So it was like, okay. And so I've been making fun of his forehead for a good week.
Oh, it's big forehead guy. Yeah.
Big forehead guy. And it was just like, and I could just see, that, let's see. Oh, give me just 1 second. Let's see. My man Sean said he's making fun of me. He said, "You had faith in that one girl, and where did that get you?" And I'm texting him, "Tickets to the Bucks and Spurs on Saturday, baby. That's what it got me." Yes, sir. So no, yeah. And so what you realize is, whenever something like that happens, like when the trial thing happened,
Yeah.
and then when this happened, you all of a sudden realize these people you never talked to don't like you. How do you realize it? Because they say, "I never liked him." And it's like, you never met me. Like you decided to see what you see, and some of it is misunderstanding. Some of it's probably genuine, but a lot of it is, why does he get to be there? Why does he get to be in that space? Why does he get to be cool with the wrestlers? Yeah, a lot of it is like that. It's I work hard too, so why can't I be part of the conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the idea that like it's so funny to me because like we as a wrestling community, right? We are such a small subsect of nerds, and like so many like there's so few like fan bases that are as parasocial as professional wrestling. And I don't know if it's because, it's something that was so big that kind of fell from grace and kind of gets made fun of. I don't know if it's because independent wrestling is still big enough that people have that like personal connection to it, but like it's so crazy to me that people will treat human beings on Twitter as if they are just like they're just a follower count. Like they see you have, like tens of thousands of followers, and they're just like, all right, cool. This guy, I can say whatever the fuck I want. Like this is not a human being.
And my thing is like, I typically don't name call, because like where I come from and how I came up, when you call names, like that's time to fight. You know what I'm saying? Like genuinely, like I'm very careful about who I call names. If I do call you a name, it's because I think that I can hold you if I need to. Like I can handle any problems that we got. So like I don't really do that. So when they're like calling like stupid motherfucker and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, like I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I understand you're frustrated, but you wouldn't do that in person. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not really built for that.
You're not about
like,
it. You're not about what's going on.
Yeah. And so, and that's why like it doesn't upset me in that way. Ooh, I got away with it. I dropped the card and changed it and called Uno before you saw it. Boy, I'm cooking you. I'm frying your ass up today.
The funny part is you're on the phone and you're like, oh yeah, he's cooking me, dude. Like I'm getting fucked up. Meanwhile, I got a handful of cards. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she said, don't call back if you don't win. So hey,
no Doghouse for camp tonight.
Yeah. Crazy. But no, yeah. So like that whole thing, it's like Streets of Rage, like the survival mode has this thing where they call it glass cannon.
Okay.
And the glass cannon perk is you do 100% more damage, but you also take 100% more damage.
Right.
So that's what it is. That's what it is. You get away with more. You get more opportunities. But boy, if they view something as a misstep, yeah, they're gonna cook you. They are going to cook you.
So like, okay, we're winding down a bit on the show. This actually leads perfectly. It's a magnifique, beautiful segue. I have a segment I like pulling. I've created recently. It's called "Getting My Guests Canceled on Twitter."
Oh boy!
And you are the uncancelable man. You have escaped cancellation by hook or by crook as more times than I've ever seen anyone. This is getting Cam canceled on wrestling Twitter specifically. I'm gonna ask you some questions. I want some hot takes on some targeted issues in the professional wrestling community. Okay.
Can't wait.
I want to start with an easy one. Sean or Brett?
Brett. Not even.
You goddamn right. You goddamn right. I think
Sean. I would like if somebody said Sean is the best American performer ever. They said that. I say, you know what? Cool. I'm great with that.
Yeah.
Brett looks like he's fighting.
Yeah.
And it's no shade. No shade at all to the boy Sean. But yeah, I like my wrestling to look like fights. I think Sean, second career Sean is even better than first career Sean. Second career Sean.
I actually agree. Amazing. I'm with you on that. I feel like that's a hot take, but I actually agree with you on that.
Yeah. Brett is just, snug and tough in the way I like him to be. And it's just it.
And of course, he's from the greatest country on planet Earth. The flag waves in the background. I'll edit it. Just flowing.
I didn't know he was from Puerto Rico. But okay. Fantastic.
Can you imagine Puerto Rican Bret Hart?
I not. Somebody's gonna tell me who the Puerto Rican Bret Hart was and be so excited. Like it's probably like Carlito's dad or something.
Yeah. Someone who's like a really big. Oh, what's the fucking promotion out there? I don't remember anymore. Someone out there is a huge mark for Puerto Rican wrestling. It's like these guys don't know a fucking thing about what they're talking about.
Idiots. Fucking exactly.
Idiots. Okay. Attitude Era, cool or cringe? Where do you land on that?
Cringy.
Nice.
And I'll say this.
Okay.
I am like the biggest Scott Hall fan. I think Scott Hall was at an amazing run.
Yeah.
Again, like Scott Hall has a period where he was basically like totally unreliable, right? But the good stuff I remember, but now that I'm my age, I'm like, there's a lot of bad stuff. And then if you watch a Raw from like 98,
it's such a mixed bag, man.
Yeah, you'll say, man, Steve Austin and The Rock are great. The rest of this show is dog shit.
Yes. Okay. Fuck.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for goddamn 5 years, and so many people go like, you weren't there, man. You don't fucking get it. And I'm like, I do get it. It sucks dick. Like it
then they're
sucks.
like they say like there's no stars today. There's no stars today.
Mm-hmm.
But then they'll be like, man, I used to love when Road Dogg would come out and rap. And no shade to Road Dogg, but the reason you love Road Dogg so much is because you had The Rock and Steve Austin.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those things like, the high tide, raises all ships. I mean, like you think more highly of people during that time because you were enamored with the stuff at the top of the card, where I'd make the argument that the in-ring product is miles ahead.
Oh, I mean, that's like almost undeniable, I'd say at this point.
Yeah, it's amazing. But no, it's you go back and watch the good stuff.
Yeah.
You do not go back and watch entire Raws or Nitros.
I was doing a thing for a while because I was like playing with the idea of starting a podcast about just like the weird, shitty parts of wrestling. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go back and I'm going to watch like 90s wrestling and see how far I get. And I put on some, what the fuck? I put on some random episode from like 97 or 98. Because I was like, I'll start with an easy one. I think it was the one with where Steve Austin has the Zamboni.
Okay.
I was like, I'll start with an easy one. Like, that's a classic moment. He, hits the ring, fucking jumps over. It's super sick. Like, I remember seeing it in like the video game stuff when I was a kid. Tight. And it's like you say, it's like literally like Stone Cold's at the beginning, The Rock's at the end, everything in the middle, complete dookie.
Yeah. There's a lot of garbage on those shows, man. Like I didn't, and it's not, again, it's no shade. Well, it is shade because I think he's a piece of shit at this point. But like, I remember thinking Val Venus was a lot better than
oh my God,
he was when I went back and watched it. Like it was just like it really was nothing special. There was just a lot of that. Like a lot of stuff where, rose-colored lenses, man. That nostalgia, it hit different. It
Yeah.
really did.
It's funny when you look back at like whatever, because like I grew up on the early thousands, like SmackDown 6 and that kind of era. So I have the same thing where I'm like, oh no, like wrestling in '06 is better than wrestling in 1996. That was my hot take for a long time. And then when you look back on it, it's the same thing where it's like Shawn Michaels, John Cena, and like arguably like Triple H and Jericho. Great.
Mhm.
Everything else, we got like Rico, we got like fucking Billy and Chuck. Like I don't know
Yeah.
about this one, stud.
Mhm. Yeah, seriously. And then they, you got the Kai and Tai stuff where those guys are trying, but the material is garbage.
Yeah.
Like, it just is. Yeah, for sure.
And it comes back to the thing of like it's no shade on the performers because they're just doing their best in the time period. Like
Mhm.
you say the in-ring product is better, and it definitely is today. But like motherfuckers weren't out in like '96 doing CrossFit, right? Like
This is true.
it's just the way it is. You know what I mean? Okay. What your opinion? Okay, as a wrestling media professional. Okay, what is in your opinion the best wrestling show of all time?
Best wrestling show.
It's a loaded question.
So I'd probably say best show. Probably Nitro before they went to 3 hours. I think is the
Okay.
best show. And I think the biggest thing is they embraced cruiserweight wrestling.
Yes.
And so,
Huge.
whereas WWE, most of their lower to mid card was still heavyweight guys.
Mhm.
The exciting in ring stuff of your Rey Mysterios, Juventudes, Jericho, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero.
Mhm.
There's a million guys. Cyclope, I'll throw Cyclope in there.
Fuck yeah,
there's just-
Cyclope.
Yeah, there's just so many guys who had that lucha libre style or that fast cruiserweight style that Liger and Pillman really put on the map.
Mhm.
That when you have that, and then the top of the hour and the bottom of the hour, you got NWO and Sting and Luger and Giant. Like it
Yeah.
was just as good a 2 hours as you could really get, kind of serving both masters.
Were you when you were growing up, were you a Nitro kid that flipped to Raw, or were you like pretty in between?
I was really a Nitro kid that flipped to Raw. And the
Yeah.
biggest thing, like, I did watch, I think part of my Scott Hall fandom is how much damn WWF superstars I watched, with him putting Jeff Hardy through the mat left and right. But yeah, Nitro was my thing because I was a WCW Saturday night guy. And so
Okay.
when I got to the point where I could watch Monday nights, it was more of that because they were cooking more at that point,
Mhm.
And then of course, Rock and Austin show up, and then Jericho flips and Show flip before that. Like it was, that became more of the thing to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was a Nitro kid to start out with for sure.
Which is funny because, as far as I know, you are a notable Sting fanatic from what I've seen.
Oh my god, yeah. It's Sting is the funniest thing, man, because like I absolutely acknowledge,
Yeah.
like when motivated, Sting's amazing. He is just never motivated. Like he just spent Sting. They told him to sit home while they work on the Crow thing.
Yeah.
He put on a bunch of weight and wasn't having good matches when he came back. Like it's just what it is. I do think, but I say that, and I also say that if there are like top, if you're to name top 3 WCW matches of all time,
Yeah.
you're probably going to have Ray and Eddie from Halloween Havoc.
Classic.
If you're me, you're probably going to have Eddie and Six from Sold Out, but you're
That's
also
a
going to
deep
have
cut.
that was my shit.
That's a
You're
banger.
also going to have Sting DDP title, US champ versus WCW champ from Nitro. It's an amazing match.
Yeah.
And Sting smoked it. So yeah, like shade ain't bad if you're willing to show love, and I'm always willing to show love if there's something to love. Yeah.
Okay. So for your money right now, where is the best wrestling coming from?
The best wrestling is coming from the middle of your browser. Because I got your ass again. Oh no, I didn't call Uno. Fuck. Oh no, I didn't call Uno. I did.
No,
I
you're
win.
good. I didn't call it.
Again.
God damn it.
3 of them boys.
Son of a bitch.
Where's the best wrestling coming from right now? I mean, 2 months ago I would have said NXT. Um, I'll probably, I'll probably would say AEW. I just think
Okay.
they have, especially now when they got Lee and Daniel over there, but they got a fully, a fully unleashed Brian Danielson. They got Omega. They got Paige. They got, a resourceful Jericho, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, he's like
They got
he
Sammy
really is like he
Guevara.
fills in.
For sure. They
Mhm.
got, Sheeta, who is great, Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa, who I am just huge fans of.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, I think the best wrestling is coming from AEW right now. I'm not like, I do not wake up to watch G1 Climax, which is not no shade to New Japan. They have really good work, but I couldn't sit there and say like this is the best wrestling that I'm seeing.
Yeah, for
You know
sure.
what I mean? Like, yeah. So yeah, I would say AEW's got the best on paper wrestling right now.
I like that. Because it's funny when you start talking about the in-ring like type stuff, because I feel like everyone's got their own opinion and it comes from so many different, factors of, some people like just different kinds of wrestling. Some people like I'm a Japan guy. I haven't kept up in a while because Will Ospreay's a shithead, but like,
Yes. Yes, this is accurate.
you know, it's always interesting to me to talk to people about where they think the best wrestling is coming from, because I feel like there's no complete answer, right? Like everyone's I'm gonna
Sure.
have my biases. Shout out Super Kicked and Demand Lucha up here in TO. Whoop, whoop. But like it's interesting to me to hear people talk about, especially like AEW. Son of a bitch, how do you always have the draw tools? What the
Did you win another one? Damn, it's a cold game. But no, I mean, but I said it's the best wrestling. But listen, if I'm going to watch one show,
Yeah,
it's SmackDown. I
really?
think that you got me.
Out of any
Yeah,
of them.
I think yeah, Roman Reigns is just on another level right now. Like Roman Reigns being a complete sociopath is just amazing to me.
Yeah,
I think that, the Usos by his side, that's one of the best tag teams going right now. Yeah, and then when Bianca was there, when Sasha was there,
Mhm.
the women's side was really strong. And then you have, I love watching Chad Gable wrestle.
Oh my god,
I
I
find Dolph
love
Ziggler
Chad.
serviceable. Yeah, and it's just the strongest show to me, top to bottom. Like if I'm watching 2 hours of wrestling, that's the show I'm gonna go.
Mhm. You really are like you really are like a middle of the fence guy. You don't just play it up for you're not just the guy on
Yeah,
TV. You really are the
I
AEW on one
hate
screen, WWE on the
everybody.
other.
Like that's the thing. Like everybody's flawed,
Yeah.
and so yeah, okay. So here's what upsets me. Like, and I say upset, like it's just frustrating. Like
Mhm.
people will, I'll say something that's not in favor of AEW,
Yeah. And the AEW
and
guys get at you.
then they'll call me an E drone,
An
and then
E-drone.
yeah, the E drone or a Vincel,
Huge.
as it were,
Love
right?
that.
And then like they'll see me on stage with MJF
Yeah.
and crickets,
Yeah, they don't
because
no one says shit.
yeah, and this is what I always tell people: the people who succeed in the way that I want to succeed
Mhm.
in media
Mhm.
are people who have real lives outside of media.
Okay.
Like any wrestler that I'm like cool with or appear to be friendly with, it's because we connect on something that has nothing to do with wrestling. Like the
Yeah.
wrestling is what got us there, but like we can go get a drink,
Mhm.
we can go get dinner and like just really kick it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
and that was always the thing with like when I used to see like NBA beat writers, right? Like
Okay.
they'd be in the locker room talking to people, but every now and again, like they're at dinner with the people they talk to.
Mm.
And that's what builds rapport. Like they have lives that exist outside of this space.
Yeah.
And you have to have that. So yeah, like I AEW doesn't pay me, WWE doesn't pay me. So what do I look like getting on the cross for them? It just doesn't make sense.
Well, it's like
Nothing should work like that.
it wraps all the way back around to what you were saying at the beginning of the conversation, where you were like, Twitter isn't real. Like, and
Yeah.
people don't think about it enough. It's true. Like, and you've said it perfectly there. Like, it's not paying your bills. they're literally a company. Like it's
Yeah.
like Walmart, it's like fucking Target or, Jimmy John's, whatever the fuck. Like, imagine people and if anyone out there is a diehard enough fan, I want this to happen. I want a Subway versus Jimmy John's turf war. I want
Right?
that's what I want. I want the Subway stands and and the Jimmy John's stands to go at it on Twitter.
Exactly. Like yeah, man. It's just not. It's and people tell me like tribalism is natural, competition is natural, and I'm like I get it. I really do get it. But like I can't live my life that way. Like,
Yeah.
I can't choose a side in something that doesn't require me to choose a side.
Yeah.
Like we can all because I want to talk to. I want to write about a WWE wrestler just like I want to write about an AEW wrestler. I want to say what AEW needs to fix, just like I want to say what WWE needs to fix. Like there should be transparency and there should be you should be ethical with how this stuff goes, right?
Yeah.
I don't have of course I could do it. I could be guy on YouTube who shits on WWE and defends AEW. Of course I could do that, but that's corny.
Yeah.
Like
no one wants to
there's
be AEW
nothing-
fan 69-420.
Yeah, it's just like can you build an audience off that? Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
not who I want in my audience. Like that's not like we talked about reading being dead and as a medium it is certainly not where it used to be.
Yeah.
But the people who listen to me and think I'm funny and think I'm interesting, those are still the people who are reading articles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I want to do everything I want to do,
Mhm.
none of it can be tainted with me playing sides.
Yeah. No, of course. And I think that's at the core of it. And that's why it comes down to, like you say, it's the people who pick a side. No one ever got famous being WWE fan 69-420. Like it doesn't happen. WWE doesn't come to you and knocks on your door and goes like, hey, what's up? We saw your YouTube channel where you talked about SmackDown for 6 hours and how much better Roman Reigns is than MJF. And we'd like to give you a writing position. Like,
Exactly, man. Like it just, that's not how you getting in the door. And these people don't want to be your friend. Like they got their own lives too. Like
yeah.
most people I've met are very nice and they will, shake your hand, they'll smile. And it's not, they got nothing against you. They just got their own stuff going on, man.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine going through a wall for a retweet. Can't imagine doing it. Like, come on, like you have parents. This is not what they raised you to be. Like, come on.
What would your mother think about your tweets?
Oh my no. She really tried to follow me, and I was like, nah, baby, you're not doing that. But you know what's funny though? Like, I always thought I was the nicest guy.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. Somebody called me an asshole or something a couple of years ago. I was like, Mom, I always thought I was nice. I didn't think I was a jerk. She was like, no, you've been a jerk your whole life. But no, me and my mother, we drink dark liquor together. We're fine. She knows what's going on out there.
Everyone's got to know when they're an asshole. I'm the asshole cousin. I'm the cousin that it's like we don't bring up like cancel culture to Cole because he'll be a complete dick about it to you, and we don't want to deal with that situation.
Absolutely.
Last one, the last hot take I need from you. This one is very important. Who's the true GOAT of professional wrestling?
Ooh. I mean, Vince McMahon.
Damn,
I would say
what a pick. I love that.
Yeah, Vince McMahon. He's he made the most money. And I think if we're looking at wrestling as a business, it's got to be the person who who did that.
Right.
But this is what I'll say. I think that there's a very real argument for Rey Mysterio to be the greatest American wrestler of all time.
Damn. Okay.
It's a very real argument.
Yeah.
Because the style that Rey Mysterio popularized on Nitro is the style that everybody in TNA was doing until Amazing Red came on. And still, Rey Mysterio is just so influential both in style, in size, because he made it okay for you not to be 6'3", 270. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Longevity, he's been doing this at a high level with a 1.5 year break. 2 year break for injury, but he's been doing this at a high level for 25 years.
Yeah.
In America alone. He's not even talking about Mexico.
Yeah.
When you think about it, Does he have the most money of anybody? No, but he got a bunch of contracts from WCW and a bunch of contracts from WWE.
Hey, you got that.
You
You got
know?
that Cerveza. You got that Cerveza sponsorship, brother.
Yeah, man.
He's doing good.
He's cooking. And he's been here so long, his kid's good. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Like for somebody to do it that long, so well, and have that much influence, I think you can really say that there's an argument, depending on your criteria, Rey Mysterio to be the greatest American wrestler.
I like that. I feel like those are two very like atypical picks, because I feel like there's the classic answers of like, Shawn and I don't know, like Flair or Hogan or Austin or Rock or whatever. I like the angle. I like the angle of who made the most money and who just has been in the game killing it for so long. Because it's true, when you look at Ray, like, shit, he even did Lucha Underground, like, and that was fire. That shit was so fire.
I went to a free Lucha Underground show during South by Southwest. It must have been 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
But that was like Rey Mysterio coming back to wrestling. I was like, oh, this is the shit.
That's so sick.
For sure.
That's so sick. And he went to Japan. Oh, dude, that like 2 years, or like whatever, like the 1 or 2 years he had off from WWE where he was just like fucking showing up everywhere. Yeah. Oh, what a time. What a fucking time to be alive.
Absolutely.
Okay. We've been going, we've been chatting, and I love nothing more on this planet than just sitting here and talking about professional wrestling. I've said this a billion times on the podcast, but we're getting to the end of the show. We do have to finish this game though, because this is the closest I've been to winning in so long. And I oh my God, the top deck of a century. The top deck of a century.
Oh no. And again, I forget, like, they can see my card, so they thought I was gonna bust your ass. Oh man.
Holy shit. Did you have the win there?
No. I didn't have the color.
Hey man.
But I got something for your ass.
Hey
though.
man, it's been a slice. GG's.
Oh, he got me. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Woo! With perfect
that is how you close it out.
timing. We got one last thing I want to talk to you about, and then we are out here. We got one last segment here on the podcast. It's my favorite part of the podcast. The whole reason the podcast exists. It's called the lightning round. What we're gonna do, I'm gonna put 1 minute on a clock. I'm gonna ask you as many this or that questions as we can get through in that 1 minute. I'm gonna compare your answers to mine to see how close we've become to being best friends.
I love it.
I've got my, let's see, I got my paper, I got my pen, old school style. These kids say they don't know. I'm gonna put 1 minute on the timer. When you're ready to go, I'm ready to go.
I'm ready. Shoot.
All right. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Televisions or movies?
TV.
Delivery or sit down? Restaurants.
Delivery.
Board games or card games?
Board games.
Video games or books?
Books.
Cars or trucks?
Cars.
Buses or trains?
Bus.
Paperback or ebook?
Paperback.
Summer or winter?
Winter.
Broccoli or green beans?
Broccoli.
Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Soda or pop? Or pop or
Soda.
juice?
Let's see. Oh, juice.
Pepperoni pizza or cheese pizza?
Pepperoni.
Does the toilet paper go over or under?
Under. No, over.
Over?
I think about when you want me to put it. Keep going.
Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Okay. That's a fucking good answer, brother.
Here we go.
That is the lightning round. I'm going to tabulate the score. While I do that, this is your chance. Cam, thanks so much for being on the show. I want you to tell everyone out there that's listening at home all the places where they can find you and what you're working on right now.
Absolutely, man. Instagram and Twitter, Seahawk, it's CEEHAWK. The South Congress podcast, South Congress with a K. You can find that on pretty much any podcast and platform that you have. You can find me on the PW Torch East Coast Cast every week with Travis Bryant at eastcoastcast.com. Most recently, you can hear me on the Wade Keller Pro Wrestling Post Show this last Monday, following Monday Night Raw.
Nice.
You can also, I don't know, you can hear me on a couple of shows on IWTV from Paradigm Pro Wrestling. You go to YouTube, follow Big Gold Belt Media. You can see me at the WIFN Beauty of Blackness in Wrestling panel with myself, Faye Jackson, Kanisha, uh, Kazim, Jay Rose, and Chris, with a special appearance from Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Everyone's best friend in the game, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Oh God, Cam, this has been a blast, dude. I cannot thank you enough for being on the show. And I'm not even just saying that. I'm still in host mode, but I'm not even just saying that as like a host. This has been fucking so sick.
Oh no, for sure, for sure.
I want you to know that not only did you absolutely cook my ass in Uno,
You did get smoked.
you scored a grand total in our lightning round of 10 out of 14.
We're best friends.
That's best friend territory, baby. That's a pass where I'm from.
Friends.
That's a pass to the degree. That's a handshake where I'm from.
Hell yeah, that's what's up, man.
Cam, thank you so much for being on the show. I want to thank everyone at home who's listening or watching. If you're watching on YouTube, I know this is an annoying thing, but I have to do it. It's the end of the video. You know what's coming. I'm so close to a custom URL. And like I say, I think like 30 subscribers get a custom URL, and then I'll shut the fuck up. This part of the podcast will cease to exist. If you're listening to it on audio, make sure that you give it a download. It helps the algorithm. And rate it if you're on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts to help. Share it with your friends, which is really cool. Tweet it out. You can tweet at me at OldKingCake on all the social medias. And make sure you follow Cam at Seahawk and follow all those amazing shows that he's producing. I want to thank our best friends Isabel Wing for the intro and Seth Feldman for the outro to our show. That's all we have. Yeah, that's all. Fuck, doing so good. That's all the time we have for this week. So remember that your mom was your best friend at one point. So give her a call, and we'll see you next week.